Imagine investing in these superstars before they ever broke out. This is the place. This is where you come to know who to invest in on Mojo, the sports stock market. So make sure you tap in. The opening bell, hosted by Ray GQ and your boy Jay Rich. Let's make some money.
Let's make some money on this Monday over on Mojo. How y'all doing? This is the opening bell. It's your boy Ray G, joined as always by my man Jay Rich. And we are excited to talk to you because we have a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Well, he hasn't won it yet, but I'm telling you, he's going to win it, and we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about some backup quarterbacks. We're going to talk about some starting quarterbacks. But most importantly, we're going to tell you who you need to invest in, who you need to go long or short in order to make some money over on Mojo. Jay, how you doing this day, man?
I'm good, man. We had a surprisingly good NFL slate yesterday. Obviously, you talked about it. A lot of great games in the college ranks with rivalry week coming up. And your boy, Caleb Williams, man, maybe somebody lost the Heisman, but Caleb Williams certainly won it as well. So got to give him credit for that. And I know that you placed a sizable wager on your boy, Caleb Williams. But the way he's trending right now, Ray, almost impossible to imagine he's not the number one overall pick in 2024. And where he's valued right now on Mojo, probably a good buy.
We're going to get into that. I definitely think you need to be going long on Caleb Williams, but credit to you. And I mean, we talked about this last week on last week's episode about investing in some of these backup quarterbacks. And we've got two backup quarterbacks that we're going to talk about today that both looked really good yesterday. And I think there's some value to be had over on Mojo investing and going long on these backup quarterbacks. Like you said, this was a very interesting week of football, to say the least. And one of the more interesting photos that we saw was this man on the sidelines. That's the chosen one. Jets, number 2 overall pick last year. Zach Wilson looking like Anakin Skywalker with the hood on low in the rain, the sour grape face on a get-right spot versus the Chicago Bears. It was not Zach Wilson. It was your boy, Mike White, Jay. You have been talking about Mike White. I think you've talked about Mike White on here more than any other player. Mike White had himself a game, Jay. Mike White had himself a game versus the Chicago Bears. And because of that, we're looking at his value and his price right now. We are recording this before the market is open. But look at the past month. Mike White up. What is that? Just for the people who may not be watching and listening, what's his percentage amount that Mike White is up?
111%, right? 111%. And we talked about Mike White a long time ago, probably about a month ago, sounds about right. And this wasn't when there was rumblings of Zach Wilson being benched. It was just a very subtle transaction. Mike White has moved to the backup quarterback ahead of Joe Flacco. And we talked about last week why you want to invest in backup quarterbacks. And while I didn't think he would get benched, you look at this situation, right? And last week we talked about it. What if Zach Wilson gets benched? And then all of a sudden, Robert Saleh's like, we're reevaluating the quarterback. Well, we know what that means, Robert. We know that Mike White's going to be starting. And he did start, and he looked great. 22 for 28, 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, only 1 sack. It's the Bears. So, like, pump the brakes a little bit. But, I mean, he looked great. All he has to do is play a little bit more in his returning value. And, again, Ray, I said this to you last week. You kind of thought I was crazy, but there's a real shot that just maybe he does start the rest of the year. And at that point, he could potentially hit, that $3 in banked value. Maybe not quite $3. He's only got 5 games left, but he could probably get you to around $2 in banked value. And he's valued at $4. That's only going to continue to go up. He may get up to the $4 mark. He's almost there now. Probably gets there today. Get to $4.50, get to $5. And at that point, you're looking at like 150, 200% returns on your initial investment. And even if you invest now and he gets to $5, still looking at 25%. I believe he still has a 3x multiplier. You throw that on there, 75% on top of if you got him early, 100%. It's just, again, he's a starting quarterback. He plays well. He's a gunslinger. He's got the weapons around him. Garrett Wilson talked all that shit about preparation. Comes out, 5 receptions, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was ready. Right? He just needs someone who can get him the ball, and Mike White did that on Sunday.
Their next couple of games, they've got the Vikings at Minnesota, at Bills, at home versus the Lions, at home versus the Jaguars, at Seattle, and at Miami to finish the season out. There's no way that they can pull Mike White right now. And you see he's priced between Malik Cunningham and Jalen Milroe. And for those of you who don't know who Malik Cunningham is, he's the starting quarterback at Louisville. Probably not going to have much of an NFL future. Jalen Milroe, quarterback at Alabama, highly touted, very raw, very athletic. He's exciting. We'll see. I don't want to speak too much on Jalen Milroe right now. He got one start this year at Alabama and looks subpar at best. But at $3.89, I definitely think there's room for Mike White to grow up. And, you know, we talked about this, investing in those backup quarterbacks. All they need is an opportunity. Everyone's favorite position on the NFL team is the backup quarterback. I'm pretty sure that all over the front page of New York Jets media today is just Mike White. Mike who? Mike Jones. Mike White. Throwing for 300 yards. Getting Garrett Wilson involved in the offense. And again, that image of Anakin Skywalker on the sideline just looking devastated. This was a get-right game for Zach Wilson, and he had to sit there and watch Mike White throw multiple touchdowns and look sharp. And pretty much the whole team, everybody, the vibe after the game, they're wearing shades, they're dancing, they're excited. This is what happens. And because of that, you look at Zach Wilson over the past month, look at his chart, right? Look at his market, man, down 34.68% for Zach Wilson. This is a far cry from him doing that gritty. Remember a long time ago when he's grittying all over the world, and now he's just grittying his way down to unprecedented levels for a second-year quarterback. Right now, Zach Wilson priced in between Mitchell Trubisky and Tyrod Taylor, the 40th highest of the NFL QBs. Not good for Zach Wilson. And my question to you is there a corresponding play to continue to short Zach Wilson while going long Mike White?
Maybe. I think at this point, I don't want to get ahead of my skis, right? We made a ton of money on Mike White. And if you want to sell Mike White, you 100% have my blessing, because there is a world where he doesn't have the same success week over week, right? He's not going to throw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and 1 sack every week. But I think, Ray, like you talked about, he gives this team confidence. The team was not confident in Zach Wilson. They give him every opportunity to improve. He didn't do that. They bench him. They play Mike White. 1 game in, boom, team is ready to roll. Everyone's good to go. Yeah, Zach Wilson's on the sidelines looking at Anakin Skywalker, whatever. The question for me, Ray, that I think is the bigger problem, we talked about this a little bit on some of our shows, is can Zach Wilson remain on this roster if Mike White is the starter for the rest of the season? Because he's
they're
not
going to cut him this season. Yes, for the rest. But they're not going to cut him.
Do they move on and trade him away? Because again, what if in the crazy scenario they say, Mike White, you're our starter going into next season because he galvanized the team and he's playing well and all these things? You can't have your number 2 overall pick be a backup. You just can't. It's not going to work. We saw Josh Rosen get traded, and I think unfortunately Zach Wilson may be trending that direction a little bit. I don't want to go say he's going to be traded, going to be replaced by another quarterback, but it's just in a lot of ways, man, he doesn't seem like the guy today who will take this benching and turn it into a positive and get in the lab and work. Like, looking like that on the sidelines, maybe it's just one shot. I'm not going to overreact to that too much, but hope that this motivates him. And Mike White playing well isn't great for him. Like, he was so bad, and Mike White comes in 1 game, looks phenomenal. It's like clearly Zach Wilson was the problem, and the Jets made the right choice.
I mean, I do think there's a world in which if Mike White can win a couple of these next games and the offense continues to roll, that, he remains the starter through the season, and then it's a full-fledged battle for the starting job, in the offseason. I don't know if they're ready to commit to him long-term, man. I mean, Bailey Zappi looked good for a week, right? Bailey Zappi came in. He looked great. And then what happened? Mac Jones is back in. He had to sit. I know he had the injury, but now Mac Jones is playing good ball. I think the bigger play is the fact that, if you did invest in Mike White a month ago, which around the time that you talked about it, if you're up 111%, I'm fine cashing out right now. I don't know how much higher this can go because it's based on career potential, and I don't have any sort of long-term expectation for Mike White. I'd be fine with cashing out at this profit right now. When he faces the Bills, we'll see, versus Buffalo. I mean, to be fair to Zach Wilson, right? This was his – look at who he had to play in a row, right? It was Denver, New England, Buffalo, New England. I mean, this was the get-right game for him, and unfortunately he put his foot in his mouth, and because of that – gave an opportunity to Mike White, and Mike White capitalized on it, Jay. But there's still opportunity on Mojo to invest in a backup quarterback who's got some upside, who came in, gave his team a slight spark, looked good. He's sitting behind a Hall of Famer. I want to talk about Jordan Love, the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. He came in last night for Aaron Rodgers. And Jay, I don't want to overreact to it because there were no expectations, no game plan built around Jordan Love. All he had to go in there and do was just go in, sling it around a little bit. But he replaces Aaron Rodgers. He goes 6 for 9, 113 yards, 1 touchdown, albeit Christian Watson did a lot of that work. Drag route across the field. Christian Watson turned on that 4.3 speed. Touchdown from Jordan Love. But I just want to look at him right now in the Mojo market where Jordan Love is sitting right now. $5.56. And you see, and majority of this is over the past 24 hours, but a 12% jump for Jordan Love. And the market just officially opened while we're recording. So we'll hit the stock market bell. The market is open. Get in there. Jay, I want to know where Jordan Love is sitting. I want to know where Love is in the market before we get out of here. But give me your thoughts on Jordan Love and his ability to return value, because we see right now, let's see where he's priced at. Wow. The 77th highest of NFL QBs, in between BYU quarterback Jaren Hall and Oklahoma quarterback Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel, I'll tell you right now, has no shot in the NFL. I mean, he might make it, and potentially at best he's a career backup, but he's not an NFL caliber quarterback. Only banked 84 cents with Jordan Love. I think there's tremendous upside here going long on Jordan Love. He's got the first round draft capital. He's been able to sit behind a Hall of Fame quarterback for multiple years. Let's talk about Jordan Love, man. What are you doing with him?
I'm going long as long can go on Jordan Love, right? Like, you talked about a guy who was a first round pick, and there he was a first round pick for a good reason. You see that arm, you see him hit the hole shot on the sideline, you see him throw a rocket to Christian Watson. Yeah, Christian Watson did all the work, but he went back in the pocket, 2-step drop out of shotgun, boom, back foot planted, gone, right? And I think that's the biggest thing here. We weren't sure how he would develop as a quarterback. When he came in early on preseason, looked a little shaky, arm was very erratic. We knew he had a ton of arm talent. We'll talk about this with Zach Wilson too. Zach Wilson, ton of arm talent, but feet aren't ever set. He doesn't make the right throws, inaccurate. Jordan Love sits for a couple years, sure, but he comes in, he looks confident, he's running the offense, he's running a no-huddle offense at that. Effectively, guys are getting open, playing their positions. How much work did he do? I don't know. It's hard for me to say how much work he did and how difficult it was. They were trying to come back, no expectations. But it's hard to look at that quarterback and say, he's got no shot. Like, you just know there's a couple of GMs like, oh, man, if I can get a hold of Jordan Love. Like, imagine the Atlanta Falcons, who were rumored to trade for Jordan Love this offseason. Arthur Smith would be dying to have Jordan Love right now at quarterback, right? With Drake London, with Olaise Amidikias look good. Kyle Pitts obviously out for the year, but him looking good. Like, I just can't believe there's not a bunch of GMs that saying, just give me whatever it takes.
But then
give me
Jordan Love, Jay, on offense. The fact that Green Bay was like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, we're not trading him, right? We're not going to send you Jordan Love. And right now you can multiply him 3x. You can go long, 3x multiplier on Jordan Love. I have no clue, Jay, if he's great or not. But you have said, I hope people truly hear some of the gems that you've dropped. There have been 2 things that you've said on this show that have been tried and true in the Mojo market. One is injury. It always double counts. We'll know a guy got hurt, right? We'll know. We knew Kyle Pitts messed his knee up the moment it happened. But then when it's finally officially announced that Cooper Kupp season-ending injury, Allen Robinson season-ending, their price goes down even further. So it's like you can double short a cat. If you're watching the games on Sunday, you see a player get a big injury, right? You could short then, and then once it's officially announced that such and such is out for the year, injury's done. Matthew Stafford's a prime example of it right now. We know he's had the concussions. If the LA Rams say Matthew Stafford's going on IR, he's done for the season, you'll see his price dip again. The second thing that has been tried and true is the backup quarterback. We all saw Jordan Love come in and look good, right? We know that there's maybe a slight chance that Jordan Love can get a start. Maybe it's just a spot start for Aaron Rodgers, 1 game. But right now, Green Bay is what? They're 4-8. They're not winning the division. They're 1-5 on the road. There's a chance that Aaron Rodgers misses a couple of weeks, and when that happens and Jordan Love is named the official starter, his price will go up again. You'll get like a second value bump. So those two things are very, very important gems that you've dropped on this show, and I hope people apply it. I think you should be going long Jordan Love as well, even if it's just the short term. He's going to be starting for a week or potentially get a spot start before the end of the season. Watch that value spike again. If you don't believe in him long term, you could sell, trade him, or you can hold on the anticipation that Aaron Rodgers may retire, doesn't want to play anymore. Then you get that offseason value spike for Jordan Love. Either way, I'm 1,000% with you. I'd be going long Jordan Love, Jay.
So interesting point here, Ray, and I think people need to understand this as well. The Packers have a Week 14 bye, so we're going into Week 13. They have a Week 14 bye, so it actually would be smart for them to just sit Aaron Rodgers this week. You know, he's potentially dealing with a rib injury. And Ray, do you want to guess who the Packers play this week? It is on the road, but do you want to guess who the Packers play this week?
Is it the Bears?
It is your friendly defense, the Chicago Bears.
Bears.
Jordan Love could not only start this week with the potentially on the bye week coming up, but he could get the Bears defense that just allowed Mike White's price to shoot up. Man. How many percent, Ray? 27% as of 24 hours ago. So maybe there's a chance that Jordan Love could put up a similar performance. And with how he looked yesterday, I have no reason to believe that he wouldn't. And like you said, he hasn't even been announced the starter yet. Who's not going to practice on Wednesday? Aaron Rodgers. You know who might not practice on Thursday? Aaron Rodgers. You know who might not practice on Friday? Aaron Rodgers. And every time that happens, Jordan Love's price is going to continue to go up. And if heaven forbid he's announced the starter, like Mike White was, he's going to go up another 10, 20% probably. Go long on Jordan Love, because even if it's short term only this week, even if you want to cash out before the game has even started, he's probably going to go up all week. He's gone up a lot already, but he hasn't gone up to the point where we're scared of his price. No. And he's a guy who was drafted first round with a $20 price tag. He's priced barely over $5. He's going to get a shot in the NFL at worst. I think you have to go long on Jordan Love.
Jaron Hall and Dylan Gabriel. Jaron Hall is priced high. Go long Jordan Love. Go long Jordan Love. The final player this is a good one. There are some gems here, but the final player we got to talk about, Jay, is this man, Caleb Williams, quarterback out of USC, currently I believe minus 3,000 to win the 2022 Heisman Trophy. Caleb Williams, quarterback out of USC, beat down Notre Dame. He's out there running around, 3 rushing touchdowns, first quarterback in 25 years at USC to have 3 rushing touchdowns, 35 rushing yards, 232 passing yards with the touchdown, highlight plays all over the place. And right now you see his price over the past month has gone up 13.34%, $31.68 for Caleb Williams. The moment he has announced the Heisman Trophy winner, which that ceremony I believe is next weekend. It may be this weekend, actually. Maybe this weekend. I think maybe this weekend. This weekend or next weekend is the Heisman ceremony. I know it's around my anniversary, which is this upcoming weekend. But the moment he's announced the Heisman Trophy winner, this price is going to take another boost up. You look at Caleb Williams and where he's currently priced right now on Mojo, in between Mac Jones and Trey Lance. He's got another year of college football. He's not eligible until the 2024 NFL draft. This is another player, even at that high price tag of $31, he's already being compared to Patrick Mahomes. The moment his name is called at the NFL draft as the top quarterback in that class, you're going to see that $30, $40 value of wherever he's at jump to $50, $60, $70 as a rookie, Jay. So for me, Caleb Williams is still a clear and obvious buy, and you're going to have room for growth here in the next week once he's announced the winner of the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, so the Heisman Trophy ceremony is on the 10th of December. Yep. The finalists are announced on the 5th, so obviously he'll be announced a finalist and probably win on the 10th. And to your point, in recent years, we've seen Trevor Lawrence, $75 as the first overall draft pick. We've seen Zach Wilson up in the 40s, 50s. Same thing with Trey Lance, another guy, $45, $50. So there's lots of runway for Caleb Williams, who should be the number 1 quarterback in 2024. And probably, if everything goes expected, the number 1 overall pick. And so the closest comp would be a player probably like Trevor Lawrence. And while he's not the golden boy and he's not the chosen one, he should be still at a $60 to $65 price tag. Trevor Lawrence was $75 out the gate. So I do think there's a lot of room for him to grow. And I think that, to your point, you want to go long, use your multiplier, because he will probably return value. And he's below CJ Stroud right now, who is not going to be the number one quarterback drafted. I'd be very shocked if he was the number one quarterback drafted. And Caleb Williams is basically already solidified that. I would be very surprised. We talked about Drake May. He's really the only one who can contend, in my opinion. But Caleb is just head and shoulders above everybody else. And I think he's going to be the number one quarterback in 24.
I'm with you, man. I think this is still, and you're going to get the value. I mean, you're probably going to get a bump once he's named a Heisman. It's funny how this works. We know he's going to be a Heisman finalist, but once it's announced on the 5th, I'll be paying close attention to see what happens to his price at that point. And then once he is named the Heisman Trophy winner, you'll see that price bump up. He's got to probably be in the college football playoff. Like, it's just positive momentum on positive momentum with a player like Caleb Williams. So my advice would be go long, Caleb Williams, go long, Jordan Love. What are we doing with White? Call your shot. You going long on Mike White? You going long, or are you just gonna let that one play out and not touch it?
I think I'm not gonna get too greedy. I called it weeks ago. I called it last week, so I'm gonna let my money keep riding. I'm not gonna say you should go all in if you want to. I mean, it's not terrible. The schedule is not. It's not that bad. Like you talked about schedule earlier. There's a couple bad games. The Buffalo game could be tough. But we'll see. It's not terrible, but I think I would let my money ride and not put any more in right now. But the other two, dude, all in. All freaking in on Jordan Love. It only took 9 throws, but I'm in. I am in. I am very much in. He didn't even run, and he didn't even run.
9 throws, 9 throws and 63-yard catch and run, and we're all in on Jordan. We're all in on the process.
GMs are salivating.
We're all in on the process. The backup quarterback process has been pretty tried and true this year. Going to be interesting to see if this is a strategy that works long term on Mojo. As we continue to grow this show, do this, that will be one of the strategic data points that we will continue to track pretty heavily, because I do think you're onto something with that and the injury news, Jay. But every day that we do this show, every time we come on Monday, we got to talk about the Monday night game and find a player to go long or short in the NFL. And I'm telling you right now, Jay, I have nothing for the people in this one. I don't know what to do. Monday night game, Pittsburgh versus the Colts.
Ray, what do we know about Pittsburgh? What do we know about them? What's our favorite thing about Pittsburgh? It's their defense, right? It's their pass defense. It's pretty good. I've heard. I've heard that they allow, I think, the most yards to wide receivers in the NFL. So I will happily go long on Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman should have a great game this week. He's got Matt Ryan back. The offense is playing better. I like Jonathan Taylor too, but I would happily take Michael Pittman and go long on him. He should absolutely shred this Pittsburgh defense. They're god-awful. So definitely go long on Michael Pittman. He would be the guy I would be going after. Number 1 wide receiver for Matt Ryan. Probably on his way to another 1,000-yard season, depending on where he's trending right now. But love Michael Pittman. Think he has a really good shot to score again this week. You could target Paris Campbell. He's another guy who has a good shot. On the Steelers side, though, like, am I going after Najee? Probably not. Everyone loves George Pickens. I'm not really there on George Pickens. Deontay has been awful, frankly. He hasn't been very good at all. Would you short Kenny Pickett against this defense? I think is the biggest question, because there could be an opportunity and he could look rough in prime time. And again, it's one of those things that we talk about all the time. When all the eyes are on you, it sometimes can make your price go a little bit higher, a little bit lower, depending on how you're playing, and it can influence the market a little bit.
This is one where my recommendation, if I were to go long on anybody in this game, it would be Campbell at $3, and he's currently priced at $3.54. It'd be Campbell or Pittman. But this is one, Jay, where I would sit this one out. I would sit this one out. Game, I could see Kenny Pickett scrambling around and scoring a touchdown and seeing his this is one I have no confidence in either of these teams. They're two teams that aren't very good right now. My recommendation would be enjoy the game. Don't play this. Invest your money. If you're going to think about invest your money in Caleb Williams. Invest that money in Jordan Love. Invest that money in another asset. I would sit this one out for Monday night. If I were going to go long on any of them, it would be the 2 receivers from Indianapolis. Maybe Alec Pierce scores a touchdown. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's Pittman and Campbell for me. But the big ones, I'm telling y'all, Caleb Williams, go do it. You're going to get the double bump once he wins, once he's announced. Jordan Love, backup quarterback, as Jay said, throughout the week. We know Aaron Rodgers is hurt. He doesn't practice. Jordan Love, a little bit of bump. He doesn't practice again. He's limited. Doesn't do anything. Non-participant. Up all of a sudden, week 13, Jordan Love is going to start. First, I could see that happening. Jordan Love starting versus the Bears.
Working with the ones, and he's practicing with the ones, and Aaron Rodgers isn't sure. Game time decision. All of a sudden, he's out.
Yep, there it is. Yeah. There it is, Jay. Well, we appreciate y'all tapping into this episode of The Opening Bell. If it's your first time here, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, hit the alerts on the way out, comment below. Let us know what you're going long, who you're short, and who you're going long on over on Mojo, which college players that you want us to talk about. Stay tapped in, man. A lot of dope stuff happening over here at Mojo. This is what we do, baby, so we enjoy it. Thank y'all for tapping in, and we'll see y'all next Monday. We out and staying peace.